Hello and welcome back to Amazemo Shorts. And today we are going to be talking about the controversy, as some would say, between Eve Frontier and Eve Online. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to start. I'm going to start off by addressing you that some things that I said in the last Eve Frontier video. The developers of Eve Frontier are actually from Iceland and not Germany, so that's my fault. But anyway, so I've actually never played Eve Online before, but I'm just basing Eve Online off what players think about it and some of the internet. Okay, so first, there are some people that have been saying negative things about Eve Frontier. So most of these are off Reddit. Someone said it is literally the same Eve game, just on new technology, which is the blockchain technology. This game sucks. So someone off Reddit said that, and so first we're going to talk about a bit about CCP Games, who have developed Eve Frontier. So they created Eve Online in 2003. Their net income is around $63.6 million, and they have repeatedly emphasized that Eve Frontier is not a blockchain game, but a game that utilizes blockchain as a tool. So how CCP Games have used blockchain as a tool, CCP Games have integrated Ethereum and Redstone on Eve Frontier using blockchain sources. So in the future, they're going to have Eve tokens, which can be transferred into Ethereum, and there's a Lux token, which is the in-game currency. Okay, so what some people have said about Eve Frontier are not very positive, but most of these people that have said bad things about Eve Frontier are core Eve Online players, because they see it as negative and copyright. So core Eve Online players, basically people who have been playing Eve Online for quite a long time and they don't really like this new version of Eve. So one person said it is literally the same Eve game, just on a new technology, which is a blockchain technology. This game sucks. It's nothing more than a travel simulator with 95% of the game locked off behind one mechanic. I have never felt myself in a position where I have felt this ripped off, said another person off Reddit. Blockchain foundations make it a worse MMO, said another person. MMORPG.GG warns of potential economic chaos and financial risks tied to real money economics. So MMORPG.GG is basically this thing that writes blogs about games, I think. I'm not entirely sure, but that's what I think. But there are also some positive messages that people have said, especially the alpha game testers, and they enjoy the shift of manual combat and survival. So one person said, the more I play, the more I think it is 100 times better than Eve Online. You must have skills playing this game. I love this game a lot during the Remnant trial. The feeling of survival and exploration is amazing. So I'm going to talk about why CCP Games decided to even create Eve Frontier in the first place. So the reason CCP Games created Eve Frontier was because in Eve Online, people would do a lot of trading to make money or get resources inside the game, even though it was restricted and could get you banned. Eve Frontier, however, is made using blockchain, so after the game is fully developed, people can trade to make EVE tokens, which can also be transferred into Ethereum. So basically, EVE Frontier is a version of EVE Online. It's just made so that you can trade stuff inside the game instead of having to do that inside of EVE Online. Okay, so in conclusion, among traditional EVE players, reactions are mostly negative. Among alpha testers, positive reactions are shared. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about, is EVE Frontier actually better as a game itself than EVE Online? And I'm just saying I've never played EVE Online, and if this video gets to 20 likes, I'll download and try playing EVE Online out for myself. So EVE Frontier is a game that is developed by CCP Games and uses blockchain as a tool. In further updates, there will be EVE tokens that can be transferred into Ethereum tokens. EVE Frontier is a sandbox game, so basically meaning that you can build whatever you want in this game after it is fully developed. And it is a multiplayer game, which is pretty obvious as there's a chat and stuff, and you can see other people in the game and everything like that. And the game is starring features like manual combat and survival in space as you fly the starship around in space. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about the difference between EVE Online and EVE Frontier. So the difference between the two is that EVE Frontier uses blockchain tools and currency, EVE Nlux, that allows people to trade among each other, unlike EVE Online, where banning is likely due to EVE Online's policy terms and conditions. EVE Online, however, is more of a long-standing, free-to-play, massively multiplayer, online role-playing type of game, with a focus of space exploration and combat, and a player-driven economy. EVE Frontier, though, is a survival MMO with a strong emphasis on blockchain technology and player ownership through NFTs and tokens. So those are the main differences between the two games. I've never actually played EVE Online, so it's hard to judge inside the game which game is better than the other. So in my opinion, it is hard to conclude which game is better right now due to the developation of EVE Frontier, but quite a lot of people are putting hate on it as but quite a lot of people are putting hate on CCP's new game, which are mostly core EVE Online players. In my opinion, I quite like EVE Frontier, but I might, if I do manage to play EVE Online, I might like that game more inside of the game, not actually, outside of the game and everything. So that was all for today. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you all later. Bye bye.